Hello, hello, and welcome back to Happy Healthy Homes. Today episode is one that really touches my heart because it's bring together everything we believe here, that our health, our home, our stories, and our environment are deeply connected. My guest today is Marianne Bennett, a woman whose journey is as inspiring as the work she does. She's a clinical nutritionist, a women's health specialist, a mom of six, a grandmother, and a business owner, and someone who has rebuilt her life with courage and intention. And after years of struggling with pain, she received the diagnosis that changed her life. She'll tell us all about it. Instead of giving up, she did the opposite. At age of 50, she walked back into the university classroom and said, I'm starting again. I'm understanding my health and how can I help myself. She became a clinical nutritionist and dedicated herself to supporting women who feel unheard, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their bodies. In today's conversation, we explore the moment in her life that shifts and why she chose women's health. How her years working as a cleaner shaped her understanding of health and environment. Why women struggle so much to prioritize themselves, and later the simple shifts, the gentle, real things that us women can make at home to feel more supported. It's a conversation about resilience, self love, and the quiet power of taking back your well being. How powerful is that? Thank you so much for coming, Marianne. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Marianne, I was so touched about your story. Your courage deeply touched me. What was happening in your life and what made you step into women's health with so much purpose?
I guess, I was in my mid 40s. I had, teenage kids at home. And by then I already had three grandchildren. The oldest of I became a grandparent at 39. But I grew up in a household with six women. So I had there was five girls and my mum and just one boy. So just one brother, and my mother was a single parent. So I saw her struggle to look after herself. But then becoming a teen mum myself, like I spent my whole life looking after the kids, looking after the house, working really hard. And I really didn't even think about looking after myself. I just, put one foot after the other. I needed to earn money to feed my kids at varying time. I'm scary as it sounds, I'm on husband number three. So I had a couple of failed marriages. So I was a single parent for a lot of, on and off through that time. But getting in my mid 40s when life should have been getting easier, financially stable, great, and working in an industry that wasn't great for me, but I enjoyed the work I was doing. I started getting sick, and I started getting sicker and sicker, and it got to the point where I was staring down the barrel of not having a great quality of life as I got older. And so getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 45, it meant I didn't know what my future was, and I had no help. So going to university was the first time at 50, the year that, we became empty nesters. So for the first time in over 40 years, we had no kids in the house. It was my time to actually focus on me for the first time in my life. And it was really important that I did, because I needed to know what was going on in my body, and because I had ignored it for so long. I had just lived on autopilot, not eaten very healthy, not looked after myself. And it got to the point where it was telling me that I needed to. But it was the most amazing journey that I started then. And I think I'm still going. I think I'll be going for a very long time yet.
Yeah, that's amazing how you just took the control instead of just saying, okay, it's like some people just say, oh, I'm getting older, my health it's going to get worse. I am very happy that you just got there and said, how can I help myself? How can I get better? Isn't it?
Yeah. And I guess, I guess what I realized through the majority of the early years of my life is that I was one of those people that were, I just put one in front of the other. There was nothing in my life that I didn't think I could overcome. But when you're faced with looking down the barrel of a chronic illness and you have a specialist say to you, you just got to live with this for the rest of your life, and you probably end up bedridden. You go, what? I'm 45. Like, how can that be? Like, there must be a solution. So, yeah, I guess the strength was within me. It just made me, instead of back and just accept it, it made me step up and fight.
Oh, that's amazing. And when you look back now, do you feel that the environment played a role in your health and your diagnosis?
I spent 25 years. By that point, I'd spent 25 years working as a cleaner. I had no idea about environmental toxins. And, having working, there were the times where I didn't even wear gloves. So I was getting it on my skin, I was getting it on my face and on my hands. And I was, live in a tropical climate. So you don't wear shoes to work because it's way too hot when it's 35 degrees in the shade. So I had chronic exposure. When I started looking at what could have made me sick, this huge aha moment, I went, wow. And then, of course, we don't take in, despite my exposure to cleaning chemicals, one of the first things I did continue to work as a cleaner for another, 10 years after that, but went to natural cleaning products and microfiber cloths and all sorts of things that clean just as well. But it was all the other things, the things we don't think about when we think about toxins. It's the stuff we put on our skin, our hair shampoo, the dishwashing liquid, the washing liquid, all of those things in your home that off gas or send out chemicals because they're made from chemicals. They're just everywhere. Things a lot of people don't think about. They chlorinate our water. It's in our water. It's in everything. We're exposed to it on a daily basis, 100 or more times a day, and it just accumulates. So my toxic load was probably higher than most people's.
Yes. And I'm so glad you say that because, to be honest with you, I think most people don't know that. And that's why I'm so passionate about this podcast because people don't understand that sometimes we're cleaning, but we actually not cleaning because most of the products that's on the supermarket shelves, they have so many chemicals, so many toxins. And that took me years to realize as well. I also discovered that because of a health issue. And I started changing things slowly, like you did. And of course, changed my skin products as well. But the cleaning products are so shocked because then I went back to when I was a child and how much cleaning products my mom was using around the house, thinking she was helping us as a children. And you think back then, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're being intoxicated with all that bleach.
And it's there. Obviously, I obviously have children your age, so I don't remember there being that many chemicals when I was a kid. My mother used lemon juice and vinegar and bicarb, but as I became an adult and left home, I certainly, like, the supermarket shelves filled up with things, and you don't know what. I still work every day with women who have no idea. But as you would realise, this toxic load starts when they're children. So we've babies are born and then they're instantly exposed to, like, baby oil and talc powder and all of these nice smelling baby washes and things to put on them to make them smell nice. And you go without the things that they're already exposed to in the home. So that toxic load starts from when this era, from when babies are born, and the toxic load builds up over time. So if you were born 30 years ago, because the supermarkets were already full, as you said, your mum already used all of those toxic chemicals, you've been exposed to them. If you get to 30, 40, 50 years old, you've been exposed to them for the majority of your life. And that long-term toxin exposure has an impact on your health. Not to mention, people live on processed food, which also has chemicals in it, supposedly safe, but are they really? So they're just coming at you from every different direction, and people think that they can't avoid them. Well, that's not the truth, as you would already know.
Yes, most people don't know that. I would say that 90% of the population is not aware of that. And when you talk about that, I feel the same. I remember my grandma, she used to make soap and was healthy. And then my mom generation is that when they started using supermarket products. And then it's probably my generations, like you said, and all these years you worked, that's when toxins became so big and increasing because supermarkets selling all these products and women doesn't have time to make homemade products anymore. And then a woman starts working full time, a shift on a generation. And the same thing happens with our food. We don't have the same time to prepare and make healthy from scratch foods anymore. So that becomes like all these things that unfortunately affects people's health much more than in the past when they have access to garden, their own foods, they made food from scratch, they made their own cleaning products. It's a big shift on this generation, and we're seeing lots of things as we keep talking. I'm sure you bring me some things, but I'd like to know, and how was that part of your story shaped the way you care for women today?
Well, when we think about women, women are usually the ones that do the majority of the cleaning. They're the ones, and women use. I once did some research into the amount of touch points, toxic touch points that a woman had in a day, and it could be anything up to 120 different chemicals in one day when you consider what they wash their hair with, what they wash their face with, makeup, skincare, makeup, washing dishes. So women are exposed to more toxins than others. And when you understand long-term toxin exposure like I do, that it has that physical impact on the body because when they build up in the body. So I always talk to my clients about toxic load. It's a bit like thinking of the analogy of filling a bucket up with water with it's got you just have to keep, it keeps evaporating. You just keep topping up your bucket. And if you never stop using those chemicals, that toxic bucket is going to impact your body's ability to detoxify or to get rid of those chemicals. And there's a point where it can't do that. And I think that's where I was at, and which made me realise that I need to help women understand that whilst for some people, there are a lot of non-toxic and natural products now, there haven't always been, and even if there are, for some people, the cost difference between the natural ones and the toxic ones is a long way, and a lot of people can't afford them. So it's about teaching them the little things that they can do in every day, looking at the toxins in their food, making sure they've got a good water filter. Make sure what they're using is the least toxic. So if they've got a whole cupboard full of or a whole bathroom full of products, change one product at a time. Move to the natural ones, but change one at a time. Don't think you've got to have to throw everything out at once. Cleaning products can be as simple. My favourite cleaning product is plain old vinegar. So do it gradually.
I did that way. I started very simple. I started one thing at a time. I'm not 100%. I think it's nowadays still really hard, but I feel like more people become conscious and more people start shifting. That gap in price will get better as well because more demand, more people thinking about their health. Nowadays, there are some more options on the supermarket shelves, but bicarb and vinegar, there's nothing better than that
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
clean.
and prices have come down in the 15 years since I started looking at toxins and replacing the stuff in my house. It's come a very long way. There are a lot of actual really good lower cost natural products now. So you can and do that. So yeah, it's about the understanding for us as women is that yes, we're going to still continue to use all these products. But what are the low tox or the least toxic ones? And then for me, looking at supporting a woman's body to be able to remove those toxins if they are exposed to them, which is really, really beneficial. So then if they do have a lower toxic load, then the body's ability to detoxify can work better.
I love that. I love how you look at a woman, not just on the nutrition side. It's really important. I say to everyone, exercise, and the food we eat is extremely important, but it's more than that. The house we live, the spaces we are, and nowadays people spend so much time indoors as well. So this is becoming more and more important because, like you said, these toxins are just off gassing all day inside the house, and people doesn't even realize they being intoxicated. Because with air conditioning, what happens as well is nobody open the windows anymore. So it's just like that place really stuffed with nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they live in, I mean, I've got a couple of children that are like that modern generation. They want that air conditioning system is on just about every day of the year. It's either on hot or cold. Trying to keep that. But they never let the fresh air in to let those go. I mean, I get in trouble in my house because my husband's a bit of he he says it's like gale blowing through the house. You must have the windows open. I said, yes, I have the windows open, darling. I'm letting the fresh air in and letting all the stale air and all the stuff out. So, yeah, it's important. It's important to understand.
Yes, and I'm an old soul then because I open my windows a lot as well. And everyone keeps asking me, what can I do? It's very expensive. I say, fresh air is for free, the sun is for free. So just open up your house, and that's where you start. Sometimes, if you cannot afford to buy all these organic cleaning products or skincare, at least open up the house and let nature do its job to clean up the air in your house a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. There's so many things that people haven't grown up doing, opening windows and like letting fresh air in, letting the sun come in, open the curtains so the sun can come in. Don't keep it like dark, like when you grow mushrooms, you have to have it dark. Like, people live in dark. I love sunshine, like, it's just so good, and, it's just retraining them. It is giving them that like you said, it's just starting with the simple things that they can do, like, simple things like, yeah, using vinegar and bicarb instead, opening the windows and letting fresh air in. Is start simple and then learn how you can do the rest of it along the way.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing I want to talk about, so many women, including myself, who are listening right now, they carry so much. It's like you did throughout your whole life, caring for kids, managing the home, organizing everyone's schedules, planning meal. Most women nowadays juggle the full-time workload. It's a lot. We stretch ourselves in every direction, and somehow our own needs fall right into the bottom of the list. So why do you think it's so hard for women to put themselves first?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is that, we're born to care for others. We're conditioned to, it's what our mothers did, so it's what we do. But I think a lot of it is about understanding that these roles can be really, I mean, I love being a mother and a grandmother. I love caring for people. I love looking after people. But it's that if we don't take care of ourselves, who else is going to do it? Our husbands might support us financially, or we might be joint income earners, so we're supporting the family. But with women, it is where we don't put ourselves out there and ask for what we want. We don't put ourselves out there and ask for help. We're really good at looking after other people. We're really good at at mothering and being, but we don't ever ask. For some people, it's inbuilt. And I certainly know it was for me. I was never one to ask for help. A lot of my clients will just go, I just put one foot in front of the other. But if we don't stop, one of the most important things women can do is self-care. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean hours and hours of the day. We need to look after ourselves, eat healthy. We need to actually take time out to do those things like get out in the fresh air. Everyone says exercise is great for mental health. It really is. But if that adds something else for you to do in your day, don't do it. It is more important for you to sit and relax and rest. And even if it's take 5 minutes to have a cup of tea and sit outside, it's if we don't, we're exposed to that chronic on the go. Once read a book. It was called, you may have heard of it, and some of the women listening may have heard it. It's called Rushing Woman Syndrome. It's by Dr. Libby Weaver, and it's all about how women just keep going. They just never stop. They're just always looking up. They're always doing things, always doing things. And the impact on our physical body long term is that our nervous system gets stuck in what we call dysregulated stress mode. Just we think stress used to be like we're getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger or chased by a dinosaur, 200 years ago. But now that stress is putting too much pressure on yourself to get all those things done every day. Having to be making sure all the kids get here and you get to work and everyone. It's just those time pressures that are more stressful. So just getting up 10 minutes early and instead of rushing into your day, take time, sit down with a cup of tea or a glass of water and just sit and relax. So letting your body unwind and keep it calm, because then you're going to give the nervous system that opportunity to slow down and relax. So the best thing you can do for yourself as a woman, even if you've got a busy life, there's probably not a lot you can do about that, is just take that time at the beginning of the day and the end of the day, just 10 minutes a day. And then at once on a weekend, get your husband to look after the children for an hour. Go for a quiet walk outside. Have a nice relax. My favourite thing to do is a relax in the bath. Just taking time out. That's more important than smashing yourself at the gym or worrying about the washing. The washing will still be there tomorrow, and your health won't be if you start looking after yourself or you don't start taking that time out when you're young, because that's most women's problem, is that they never take the time to look after, and for themselves.
Yes, I completely agree. And that's something like I never saw my mom relax and rest throughout I was growing up. She was always on the, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I started this journey of self-healing and learning. And I say the same to the listeners, 10 minutes. I always say, have a space prepped as well, like a relaxing chair with a plant close to the window, something just to help you to have that 5 minutes a day. And I'll have to admit, I love a bath as well. It's like the days I'm really struggling and I'm exhausted, I just say to my husband, can you take care of the baby? I need to have a 20 minutes bath, sometimes not even an hour,
Yeah.
but that helps me so much. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
Just those small things. It's just those small things. And looking after yourself doesn't have to feel like it's something else you have to do. Like, it's about understanding, that 20 minutes to have a bath, or that 10 minutes to have a cup of tea, or just when you get home from work, instead of rushing into dinner, just give the kids a snack and just sit for a little minute, and realizing that you'll be less stressed and more able to focus. Because what we do is, when we're continuously stressed and continuously busy, we do get forgetful. We do feel like that there is so many things we do. Our brain never stops. So just giving it time. I have a handout that I give to give to my clients. It's called Creating Calm. It's 6 steps, 6 things to do in the morning first thing. So get up and find yourself that quiet place, take a few deep breaths, cup of tea. If you think your day is busy, find 5 minutes just to write those 3 most important things to get done in a day, because you're not always going to have time. If you can get the 3 most important, if you've got to get the kids to school, get to work, and make sure you've got food on the table, those are the 3 most important things you need to get done in the day. Because the rest, yes, it'll still be there tomorrow, but you'll be a bit less stressed. So if you did that every day, and it's a habit that I've gotten into. As you said, getting outside in the sunshine, you're taking that cup of tea outside if you can, if the weather is getting light first thing in the morning, and seeing the sunshine, so good for your mental health.
Yes. And you said so many things that they can already apply on their day to day. And what happens what I think happens with us as women, if we keep on this autopilot and never take those moments, is that when things happen to our body? Is that when we start to get into those chronic illness and things like that that some women have to deal with?
The reality is that being in that higher stress load, so in that position where your body is never, the nervous system is never really calming down, means your stress hormones are going to be higher. And when your stress hormones are higher, what they can do is then lead to many things: inflammation, trouble with hormones, problems with sleep and energy and the ability to cope. So if we're continuously on the go, never take that time to relax, what it does long term is raises those stress hormones to the point where stress hormones are inflammatory in higher amounts. So it's about understanding that if you never switch off, if you never take time to just look after yourself, the physical impacts are, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, problems with your hormones, and even mental health problems. Because when your nervous system is not regulating your hormones properly, it's not regulating your neurotransmitters properly, and it can cause anxiety and a feeling of hopelessness and depression that we can help if we just go, let's slow things down. So it's not about going, oh my God, I'm stressed. And I think the other thing is that women reach for things that make them feel better when they're stressed. The two biggies, coffee and alcohol. So at the end of the day, I'll just have a glass of wine because that'll make me feel better. Adds to the toxic load, adds to the stress. It doesn't help the body. It actually adds to its burden, and it impacts the body on a hugely cellular level. Because no, I like alcohol, I like coffee, but in moderation. I've learned to manage how much of it I can do. So I'm now healthier. I'm now doing all of those things to look after myself. But because alcohol is toxic, there is no doubt. There is no the body doesn't is not the alcohol is not good for the body. So it's about understanding, is that, are you doing those things on top of not looking after yourself? Is that, what are you putting into your body that's helping to keep your stress, or helping to keep you, like, that feeling of agitation and that feeling of restlessness it can be caused by the things you're using to soothe that are not actually soothing you. They might feel like they are, but they really aren't.
I think I'm guilty on that because when speaking, few years ago, I will always go for coffee, more coffee, more coffee, and then get to the point that it's like, oh, my body cannot handle anything, and then you start getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And it's like you said, it's not about. I love coffee as well, but it's not about taking completely off managing that. On this topic, when we're talking about these things, um, from everything you lived and everything you teach, what are the simple shifts women can make at home to support their health? You already talk about so many things regarding that 5 minutes, taking a break, um, and is there any other things that you help women with? Like when we talk about the coffee, maybe that is another drink you suggest that people could substitute. So then they just stop going for the glass of wine and coffee all the time.
Well, I guess my substitute I'm a green tea. Green tea contains L-theanine. L-theanine is a compound that helps the nervous system to relax. It's why it's really good for the immune system, and it's really good for calming. So a nice cup of green tea. I do 2 coffees, but that's always in the morning, and then I do a couple of cups of green tea. It's about understanding that you doing the simple things. Simple things is eating healthy on top of taking that time out, that 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes, and doing that self-care, is that making sure that you're fueling the body with really good, healthy food. Because if you're rushing around, I think the biggest thing that happens with women is that they actually don't eat. It's not that they don't eat healthy, is that they skip breakfast. They're too busy to have breakfast, or they might have a piece of toast, a high carb, high sugar breakfast, and then it's really giving them a boost of carbs, and they're not getting any. So eating healthy during the day, staying hydrated other than caffeine, other than coffee and tea, making sure they're drinking that 1 to 2 liters a day of water, because, water is, when the body is functioning really, really well, it's because it's really hydrated. All of our cells and everything in our body needs water. But I think it's just the self-care is the really most important part for women, is that understanding is that tomorrow there'll still be stuff to do. There will still be that
Yes.
load of washing. And I mean, I'm a big believer as your kids get older. I mean, you've got a baby, but I taught my kids to be self-sufficient. You know, like one of our daughter who's in Queensland has 8 children, and they've learnt to look after themselves. So even the youngest one, who's just about to turn 7, he gets his own lunch ready. They have a routine, you know, like, so instead of a woman thinking that they have to do everything, set your kids up right from the beginning to go, you can, and it's not about it being a chore. It's about, hey, look what you can do for yourself. And then, you know, helping a woman to have more time for herself. So yeah, we can think we need to do it all. But if we can delegate to our husbands, or we can, you know, get the kids to actually do stuff for themselves, those kids are very capable, even from a very, very young age, to actually help them to look after themselves. So hydration, and then, yes, keeping that coffee and alcohol down to a minimum. And, yeah, making sure you're eating those good 3 meals a day, because I'm telling you, that roll of belly fat is nothing to do with your diet. It's to do with your stress.
Yes, I completely believe it. And talking about children doing things for themselves, I'm completely on your side as well. On my book, I wrote a lot about Montessori, and I believe a lot on Montessori as well. And it's just telling them to do something, but getting them involved, because all they want is to be with you. And some parents, on the rush, instead of letting the children do because they'll be a bit slower, they just get everything done because they want it to be done quick. It's another level of stress as well. So I'm raising her on that methodology. And the beauty about that is they start learning how to cut their veggies, how to help on the kitchen very, very young. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I agree with you. Earlier, they can do those things. It's that feeling for them of achievement as well. Just, I can do this. Look how cool is that? And empowerment for the children.
Our 8-year-old, all of our grandchildren in Queensland can all cook. And when we were in Queensland in August for our daughter's 40th birthday, and we went fishing, caught a whole pile of fish, and the 8 and the 12-year-old gutted it, cleaned it, cooked it for the whole family while we were there. Like, these kids can cook it. So it's you don't have to do everything. As women, we try and be everything for everybody. But you're right. The kids, you're going to bring your daughter up to the right way to get her involved in. And that's what it's been like. Well, the kids, and if the kids are not, our grandkids are not allowed to help in the kitchen, they get a bit cranky. Like, they love that. And it is that also that spending time with mum in the kitchen, it's like one-on-one time. So if the rest of the teenagers, because the oldest ones are teenagers now, they don't want to help in the kitchen. The little ones are going, yeah, come on, we can get in there and help. So yeah, and that gives you that sense of pride as well, that you're making your kids self-sufficient before they leave home, and it gives you that time. Sometimes our daughter just sits there and watches the kids do it, just supervises them to make sure that, you know, that they're not going to hurt themselves, and there's anything that needs doing with a knife that the little ones can't do, she does it, she'll do it. But it's interacting with them, and it breaks that cycle of thinking that you have to do everything for them.
Yes, that's right. And I'll tell you, I never learned how to cook, and I struggled so much when I was older. Yeah, I wasn't allowed on the kitchen. And then I was like, when I was older, I was calling my mom. I was like, how am I cooking an egg? And I felt so bad. And when I came to Australia, living with my partner, I was like, oh my gosh, my cooking's horrible. And that make you feel unworthy as well, because you're like, this is something I was supposed to know. Took me years to develop the confidence on the kitchen. And I feel like if you do that with them when they're kids, how easy is that? Because they're kids, so they have no fear. They're already developing their confidence. When they get to the stage, as I did, they change countries, they go overseas, they know it. So they won't have to be ashamed of themselves because they don't know how to cook anything.
Yeah. 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 I guess I'm lucky in my house that my husband is the cook. Only that he likes doing it. You know, I like cooking too, but he likes it more, and he's better at it than me. So I just let him do it. I just say to people, I don't necessarily like cooking, but I definitely like eating. So, you know, but I did it for years before I met him. When we I did plenty of cooking. I did cooking as a kid. Mum, I had the opposite. I had a very My mother was not like me. She didn't bring us up to run around after us and we did nothing. It was the opposite. My mother did a lot of sitting on a chair and instructing us on how to do things. In the end, when we were all big enough to get ourselves ready for school, my mother wasn't working, so she could quite happily just get out of bed and watch us get us ready for school because we were so used to doing it. And just a generation in the middle, there's something happened. So if we can change that for women now, if we can change the fact that kids can do things for themselves, imagine what your life is going to be like with your working. Your daughter will be able to do all those things for herself. And how proud will she be of herself that she can do them?
Yes, that's right. I completely believe on that as well. I'm really enjoying our conversation and how this all, I think, help our listeners. And you support so many women through their wellness program. You have a wellness program as well. And when women come to you feeling exhausted and disconnected from herself, what are the first things you usually help them to focus on?
I guess the first thing a lot of women are not used to doing is actually taking notice of what's actually going on with their health. They know there's something going on. They've had signs and symptoms for years, but they just haven't been listening. So it's about getting them to tune back in to themselves and to really understand what's going on in their body. Even though I'm a clinical nutritionist, I'm also a master NLP and hypnotherapy because there's a huge link between our mindset and our health. And a lot
Yes.
of women also need help with that, building their self-belief, their self-esteem, because they have spent years doing all of these things and it can wear them down. And even if that life hasn't been in their adult life, as a kid, if they haven't been allowed to be who they want to be. A lot of women go through life and don't ever really get to fulfill their dreams. So I also get women to actually reimagine what aging can be, because we talk about women and we talk about women live longer than men, but a lot of women don't have a long, healthy life. They have a long life. So I talk to the clients I work with about putting more life in their years, not just years in their life. So we're looking at longevity versus just looking, living longer. So understanding what that means for them. What is it they want? Because for most women, especially women that I work with, their kids are getting to those teenage years, or even they've become empty nesters. And if you can get them to reimagine what the rest of their life looks like some women that have no kids at home, and their marriage might break up, or they may have no husband, and it's like, well, now what? So getting them to do things like set goals and really believe in that
Yes.
they can plan for their future. It's really inspiring to watch. And I guess it's driven by my understandings that I just lived my life the way my parents did, and then really never really thought about it. So the year I went back to university was the year that I became an empty nester. And when my daughter told me she was moving out, I cried. Because I didn't really imagine, because I jokingly said to my sister, I said, now I have to talk to my husband. I've got no one else to talk to. So didn't really think about what the rest of my life was going to be like. Starting a business is not what all of my clients are going to want to do in their 50s and 60s. But, just understanding that you can live a long, healthy life if you believe you can. So you're working on that connection between the mind and body is huge for some of them. Some women think that the only thing they need to do is change their diet, and I go, well, there's lots more to it. And we start working on the physical health. And we work along on the mindset and the link between the mental health and the physical health. And women go, wow, I just thought I needed a new diet. I certainly realised, because we hang on to lots of different emotions from growing up. So it's really,
Yes.
really deep work for some women, because I've never done it before. It's really scary for some women as well. But I really love taking that time to get them to reimagine what the rest of their life can look like.
I think that's so important. That's so inspiring as well. I am actually glad you started a business at your is because imagine how many people you're helping. Because it's like you said, sometimes you go to a professional and they just look on, most people will just look on that side of the diet. And everything's so holistic, so integrated. And when you talk about childhood traumas, and yes, we tend to do everything the way our parents did because that's how we learned. So it's, I think, again, it's being so automatic and just pushing life is just keep going, one foot in front of the other, like you said, without stopping and say, wait a second, what am I doing? Is this good for me or good for my children even? Because if you're just doing what your parents did, is that going to be affecting your children's future? How are they going to become? What are they going to become? And looking at those healthy years, it's so important. When you say that, I'm from Brazil and people have a very rough life in Brazil. And my mom's now on her 57s and she's by herself. And sometimes I keep talking to her and really in helping her and say, Mom, you're so young, you have your mind, just you can do whatever you want. And then she said, No, but I'm old, I'm 57, I'm sick. I was like, No, you have so much to live. And you're helping these women to realize that. I think that's incredible. The work you're doing, it's so needed in our society.
Yeah, it's about getting women to realise that, like, there is life beyond 50, 60, 70, that, you can do anything. Where as a society, most of the I was conditioned to believe that chronic illness was something that naturally was going to happen. Like getting heart disease or diabetes or something was something that everybody just expects will happen. Until you go, well, actually, that's actually not the truth. Is that if you're looking after yourself, if you understand how your body's working and you're looking after it, that just because, I was conditioned to believe that I was gonna have a heart attack and have heart disease like my parents. Well, I saw a cardiologist and he said, well, that's not really true because as you would know, when we talk about, lifestyle and, our exposure to toxins, is that our lifestyle has a bigger impact on our health than our genetics do. You're like, the genes don't do, I mean, I love genetics. It's another one of my key things that I love to talk to people about because yes, you can see things in their genes, but what you can see is that lifestyle. So that toxin exposure, poor diet, but more so is that self-belief, that ability to have joy and happiness in your life can also be a really big, have a really big impact on your health because your body's listening to everything you think and everything you say to yourself every day. And that can impact your health long term if you even though most people don't realize. So it's really important for women to find joy in life, to find purpose beyond children, beyond being a mother or a wife or an employee. It's finding what brings them joy in their life. And I think that's if I can work with a client and just help them find joy again, usually the rest of it will come together without even thinking about it.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And that's so true because we're so used to think that we're not worthy of living a good life, not having joy. I think lots of people was shaped that way when they were a child. And when you say like that, we need to within and find that and find the purpose. And then things start just to fall in place and get better and recover. Just for curiosity, because you took ownership of your health. You went back to uni and you did all this work with yourself and now helping all these women. How long did that take for you to just go back to the doctor and say, hey, I don't have anything anymore. Now I can live my life. I'm free. I can do things again and travel and I'm full of joy.
Well, I guess once I went to university, so I had already had, been unwell for, 4 or 5 years. But what was very quickly after I started going to uni that I realized that I really wasn't taking care of myself. I had not look, spent my life rushing around, living on autopilot, drinking too much, eating the wrong food, and really not taking care of myself. So it was very quickly after I started understanding the human body has this amazing ability to heal if you give it the right
Yes.
environment and if you give it the right mindset. So if you believe you can, you believe your body can heal. If you get diagnosed with a chronic illness and you don't, and you believe that that's your fate for the rest of your life, well, then that's what you'll have. So a lot of it happened really quickly. So by the time I finished uni, because I went into university with no idea. I had no intention to starting a business. What I went into, I wanted to learn how to heal my own body so that I could get my health and my life back. But what I realized was that there's all these other women that really needed, it was, how is it that society thinks that aging is this, it leads us to a chronic disease and then we die. So I took very quickly realized that there was more, that my mission and my vision can be really clear, is that if I can just help one woman at a time, so if I help you as a mother, if I help another woman really understand what's going on about it and find joy, that's a ripple effect, because that woman usually has siblings, parents, children, sometimes even
Yes.
grandchildren. So it's about understanding that we are the wise old women. We used to, in the old tribal settings, it was always that wise old woman. What knowledge of that wise old woman is that we have amazing bodies. And they bear children, they bring life into the world, because if they didn't do that, society wouldn't exist. So we can understand is that we are amazing. Our bodies are amazing. And if we just breathe into that and we just really believe that anything is possible for their health and for their life. And for me, that's what happened for me, is that I just had that belief that I was going to get well. And then I had that belief that what if I could help other people do that too?
That's amazing. And that's so inspiring because I agree with everything you say. Our mind's so powerful. Our body can heal itself. Look at the things, yeah, it's just like we can make another life. It's incredible what our bodies can do. We have a signature question. I shape it a little bit on the interviews, and if you could redesign just one thing in a woman's home, one habit, one space, or one moment in her day to help her feel calm, safe, and most important, what would that be?
I'd like to create that little spot just for her, where she's got all of the somewhere where that is just her own, that she can take that time out. For me, my biggest one is in my office, I have a chair where I sit and read by the window, or in just a little space that's hers, that she can have some precious things, and that she can take time to just sit there and look at them, look at those, and spend time in a space that's just hers. Because we do give so much. Women do give so much to everybody else. We just have to, if we could have that space for her, that's what I would want for every woman, just to have that little space where they could go and breathe and have quiet and just be, just so that they can just be.
Yes, I completely agree with you. I call that a relaxing corner. Could be so many things. Could be a chair with a plant, a little side table where they can have a cup of tea. Could be a little meditation corner as well, or a space you can have a cushion on the ground and you just put like some sound bowls. Um, just I feel like sunlight and nature heals anything. So just make sure this little corner is a place by the window and you can see outside and enjoy. And it's a moment of joy as well when you're on your chair. Is that little moment of joy during your day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that peace. That's peace. Mine is right by the window, by the way. And I open the window and the curtains and and it's on the back of the house, so it gets afternoon sun and it is delightful.
Oh, that's amazing. My relaxing chair is by the window as well, and we have a big tree on the front that if I tell you we bought the house because this tree, so I love looking at her and just taking into all the sunlight I can get. This has been so inspiring for me, and I am so glad you are in business and you're helping so many women. I hope a lot of people hear you, and I just need to know where we can find you and what I know that you have some programs happening. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Have a program, 12-week program, called the Empowered Women's Wellness. That's where I take women through understanding their physical health and then, you know, working on their mental health. And it's really a journey of understanding that it starts with really tuning into your body and understanding and getting the body back into harmony. So getting mind and body calmness so that you can actually get your body to heal, but then using those mindset and aligning the mind to help the body heal because, as I said, the thinking. So it's a 12-week. I work only online. I've just recently, I used to work on, so it's all online. So it's a weekly session for 12 weeks. And it's about taking you on a journey from where you start to at the end having a feeling of knowing who you are, knowing how your body works and how your mind can help you and how you need to do to keep your mind and body healthy and calm for the rest of your life. And I'm really excited. I've closed the books for this year, but I'll be opening them again in the middle of January for the next 12-week session. And it's a one-on-one. It's not a group program. It's a one-on-one. So we have weekly one-on-one sessions. A lot of people don't like group programs. A lot of people do like group programs. But it's not about just me talking. There was lots of activities. There's lots of homework and things that women. So it's about doing that deep work to really understand who they are, what they want with the rest of their life while we realign their mind and body. So I just love doing it. It's just work that every time my husband says you always seem really, really inspired after, you've had a client consult. Because I see the joy in women's faces and that brings me joy. When everyone says to me, you're 61 now, don't you just want to retire? Because my husband's already retired 8 years. I go, no, I'm ready. This is my time to help women, build a life that they want for the rest of their life and the help to go alongside of it.
Yeah. It's like we talked the other day. If that's your life purpose, bring you joy, you can always organize that in a way that you can still enjoy that time with your husband, travel, and all the other things you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is beautiful. The work you do is really inspiring. I'm very grateful to have you here. I will put all the links for Marianne's website and program on the show notes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Marianne. And I'll see you guys on the next episodes.
Thanks.
Thank you.